Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the Crypto Mining Morning Show, your one-stop shop for everything crypto from the perspective of a cryptocurrency miner. I go by Blind Run, which is my gamer tag, and the channel is Son of a Tech. We go live with this show Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. Central Standard Time, provided I click the go live button in YouTube as well as in OBS, because apparently it doesn't work. So that's what happened yesterday. Today we're going to be talking about the inevitable Web3 and NFT takeover. Regardless of your opinions on whether or not it's a fad, the fact of the matter is we're talking about 80% of the transactions going on Ethereum right now are due to NFTs and the industry moving into, of course, Web3 as well. So this is an important topic. We have YouTube essentially getting in on the game, pushing harder. We have YouTube stars pushing into NFTs. This is going to be a hot topic, and we do need to cover it. And from the perspective of a cryptocurrency miner, we are the OGs. We're the old heads. We're the boomers of the cryptocurrency space. We've been in it the longest, but we need to make sure that we're shifting and paying attention to the trends. Next, we got a couple Bitcoin mining topics to cover today. We have Hungary's central bank going for a ban, while on the opposite side, we have a new potential exchange being built by Bitcoin miners for Australia. So the Australian viewers, I know we have a few of you guys out there. We'll get into that today. We do have more information as well regarding AMD and Linux support, at least on their workstation side, that we're going to be covering too. And as always, we'll be covering the crypto mining market for today and how I need a haircut. But before we get into it, here's the ad. And enjoy. PrimeXBT is an established trading platform that was founded in 2018. Through February 8th, there are no fees for buying crypto with a card. PrimeXBT offers a unique trading experience with their co-vesting module that allows you to follow successful traders. Their latest feature is co-vesting yield accounts that offers up to 14% APY using DeFi and CeFi integration. PrimeXBT is available on desktop as well as their new iOS app. Remember, any form of investing comes with significant risks, so do your own research. A quick disclaimer, when using leverage trading, it comes with extremely high risks, including loss of all funds. Use promo code SONOFATECH at sign-up for up to $7,000 in bonuses. Boom, and there we go. So as always, we like to look at the beginning of the show at any new miner releases that have launched. We do have one today. They did another update. Yesterday they had an update as well. It's Gminer. This is going to be version 2.78. We are kind of in, we haven't seen Team Black Miner in a couple days, surprisingly, but that's okay. Taking a look at version 2.78 released 3 hours ago. On February 11th, 2022, we have essentially one addition, which is added unlock for RTX 3050 on ETH hash. Default light hash rate tuned for this card is 58%, so still pretty low unlocks for the RTX 3050. I will have to download this and see if it nets us anything better than the official Team Black Miner support, which was netting us 14.2 mega hash a second around there, which was 1 mega hash a second more than just a default light hash rate unlock from the likes of LOL Miner, NB Miner, etc. So hopefully what we'll see here is a little bit more hash rate. However, I kind of doubt it. I think at best, this one's going to be between 15 and 16 mega hash a second if we're lucky, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be more around that 14 mega hash a second like we saw with Team Black Miner. If you're interested in the testing for this, this will be tested outside of the morning live show, so make sure you hit the notification bells down below the channel so you're notified when the testing is complete on that. Obviously, we're hunting for more hash rate on those RTX 3050s, especially at their price point. So there you go. That is that out of the way. Hopefully we'll see some good performance out of G Miner. Next, we're going to talk about YouTuber Logan Paul files trademarks for NFT Marketplace and DAO Ventures. This is coming from CoinDesk. And this is a big deal. You guys got to understand that when we're talking about the adoption of cryptocurrency as it sits right now, the number one sector that is bringing in new, fresh money is the NFT market. And whether or not you think that this is going to be the future, at this time, we're talking about a majority of the transactions on Ethereum and probably just on blockchain as a whole being utilized for this specific scene. So once we start seeing people obviously like Logan Paul come in and start getting into the business, it's like, okay, I don't think personally that NFTs are going anywhere, at least within the next year. And as miners, especially seeing that a lot of this is coming through Ethereum right now, this is good news because it does mean we will have the potential to mine more Ethereum. And let's get into the article. So the social media star and undefeated professional boxer is no stranger to the NFT sector. So YouTube star, internet personality, and undefeated professional boxer Logan Paul is launching his brand into Web3, according to several trademark filings made on February 4th. The first filing, titled Originals by Logan Paul, was submitted under the NFT categorization, and covers downloadable photographs, artwork, art reproductions, digital art files, and image files. The videos authenticated by non-fungible tokens. I guess I need to get into doing more NFTs for video clips, huh? Is that the moral of the story that's going to happen here? The second filing came in under the name Originals DAO and includes provision of an online marketplace for buyers and sellers of downloadable digital collectibles, as well as creating an online community for users to participate in discussions, connect with companies and individuals, and form virtual communities and DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations. That's actually a pretty big one too. But Paul is no stranger to the NFT market. The former Vine star says he spent over $2.6 million on digital collectibles in 2021 and has publicly promoted several projects in recent months. Began collecting NFTs this year, he says in his tweet, acquired 139 NFTs in total, spent $2.645 million. And you can see here that he paid 2.84 ETH in gas fees, which totals $75,000, which is pretty and that was all on OpenSea, which is another point. So point one, these fees go to the miners. All right. Point two, at least right now as it currently sits, stakers, if ETH moves to proof of stake. But point two is everything's being done on OpenSea. And here's the fact of the matter. We're going to go back into that first mover talk. OpenSea is such a dominant platform for NFTs right now that, in my humble opinion, if I'm going to invest in minting, and this comes from experience of minting on other platforms as well, if I mint a new project on OpenSea, it's almost a guarantee, if it has any legs underneath it at all, that once it's minted, I'm going to make a profit. That is not the case on Immutable X, where I have a few gorillas sitting around that don't sell anything. Outside of Gods Unchained, which is where you can actually make money on Immutable X, but it requires a significant time sink in actually playing the game, and whether or not you have that time is going to determine how much you can actually make off of that. Plus, they also have issues of basically not actually paying you out in God's tokens, so you have to trade for God's tokens out of ETH to buy cards, or you have to sell cards for God's tokens. It's kind of a mess. Immutable X needs to do some work. There's also no auction house, really. Another note about OpenSea that I've noticed here recently is it doesn't look like the Polygon Matic portion has an auction that is functioning at this time. So I got to get onto that. But you can see my NFTs down below. We even have some minted on Ergo as well. I just want to make it clear that when we're talking about these large YouTube stars, people that aren't like built into the crypto scene and what they're looking at. They're basically downloading MetaMask. They're participating most of the time on layer 1 Ethereum, and they are utilizing OpenSea, and all these things have in common basically first mover advantage. And so if you're looking at investments from that perspective, as far as NFTs go, that's what you need to take into account. I don't think at this point that we're going to see NFTs go away. I think that a lot needs to be done to, well, on OpenSea's platform, secure down at least, make sure that there's no duplicates. I know that they're aware of this issue. Hopefully that gets sorted. And overall, the storage of all of these JPEGs, videos, etc., need to eventually move to some sort of decentralized storage platform to basically, hopefully, combat future losses based around the current more centralized way of storing this information of going away. Now, that's all dependent on size of the NFT. There are things in the works that do fix this in certain ways. But for the most part, these are the big problems with, of course, not only NFTs, but Web3. Because when we talk about Web3, the biggest issue that we have there is going to, of course, be infrastructure, because there's no way around the fact that a majority of the infrastructure that can run the nodes for decentralized storage, etc., is still controlled primarily by massive corporations, whether that be Google or Amazon or whatever. The good note is, at least from that perspective, is even though a majority of this infrastructure would be still provided by these major corporations, if you have it implemented properly through like something like Flux, for example, the failover should allow you to fail over from Google to Amazon, as opposed to being reliant on a single major company. So it's a little bit better and getting more and more decentralized. It's just an obvious problem, though, that I like to bring up and make sure that people are aware of, because these are technological issues that need to be solved for this to really be a thing in the future. But I don't think it's going anywhere at this time, especially when we're talking about DAOs, NFTs, etc. So the next thing that we have to talk about is YouTube. That's the platform I'm on. I'm super, appreciative of this platform, regardless of some of its positions that it takes, etc., because it's provided for me to be able to do something outside of the daily 9-to-5 grind. And I appreciate everybody that watches the channel, and I can't say thank you enough for that. But YouTube itself reveals more about its NFT and metaverse ambitions. This article is coming from Yahoo, so it's more traditional media. And it says YouTube has expanded on its approach towards digital collectibles such as NFTs and its metaverse ambitions. The global streaming service first announced its interest in the space in January with the idea of using NFTs in Web3 space to benefit its creators via additional revenue streams and new opportunities to engage with audiences. It has now opened the doors for its content creators and community to leverage Web3 to form new opportunities via its approach, which maintains a focus on utilizing blockchain and NFT technology to benefit its users. Now, I haven't seen anything personally in the dashboard. If you guys are not aware how these things typically roll out from the YouTube creators perspective, you'll usually have some sort of thing like they did with their merchandising. Speaking of which, you can buy the Keep Calm Mine On t-shirt down below. That's an integration through Teespring where they allow me to basically upload a design to Teespring and then connect that store to YouTube and display it under my YouTube channel, which allows me to hopefully gain more revenue streams, right? And it has. Thank you guys, everybody that's ordered. I think we sold like 10 shirts, which is amazing. But we do have 170,000 subscribers, so a few of you could also still hop in there as well. That being said, just kind of fun. What I have seen from this is that we don't really necessarily have access to it yet, The largest creators will typically get it rolled out to them. You'll start seeing those things happen on their channels. Those features start getting unlocked. And then eventually, like, I'll get a beta version of it probably, and then I'll be able to deploy it and talk more about it. As it sits right now, I only have these articles to discuss though, because I don't have hands-on experience with it at this time. First, focusing on emerging Web3 environment, a YouTube blog post said that Web3 opens up new opportunities for creators with other new technologies like blockchain and NFTs, allowing creators to build deeper relationships with their fans. YouTube then noted the possibility of a verifiable way for fans to own unique videos, photos, art, and experiences from their favorite creators. And this one's going to be really interesting because obviously that's something that Logan Paul is working on. He's such a large creator that more than likely he has some sort of representative at YouTube that he's discussing these things with. And it looks like this is going to be the direction that even major platforms like YouTube are going to move into. And it's going to be a really exciting time because this is going to be huge adoption. Imagine if every large YouTube creator is all of a sudden selling their NFTs in Ethereum, on Ethereum in YouTube, and you can purchase like my how to mine video of 2021 and say you own an NFT of it. Hey, like if it's like big creators that are like participating in this, we're going to be talking about quite a bit of an uptick in activity on the Ethereum blockchain. For miners, that'll be good, at least until they move to proof of stake. And then to back that up though, and from what I've heard, there are talks of partnerships on the Web3 front for the actual hosting of this type of content. I'm not going to go into detail at this time, but look forward to news that will be, pretty earth-shattering and pretty good for the crypto mining space as well, in my humble opinion, in regards to this specifically. And that's going to be really good as well, because the miners aren't going to get left behind in this, even if ETH moves proof of stake, to the best of what my ability to interpret what's happening at this time. But dubbed a compelling prospect for creators and their audiences, YouTube said it has many responsible considerations to make in its approach to new technologies, which have incredible potential to change how creators and fans interact and engage with each other online. YouTube also touched on the metaverse, which could enable its viewers to watch videos together in a virtual environment. This would not be dissimilar to what some of the virtual VR worlds are doing already, and it'll be really interesting to see something as large as YouTube adopt it. It would, in theory, kind of set itself apart from like Sandbox and Decentraland because, we're talking about a massive corporation investing into it, as well as kind of a shift. What I would see this competing with, obviously, would be Facebook's Meta or Meta's Facebook. You get what I'm saying. So although YouTube didn't specify which metaverse environment it would use, blockchain-based metaverse platforms such as the Sandbox and Decentraland have become a massive attraction for brands and businesses worldwide looking for exposure in the virtual world. It said it's, quote, thinking big about how to make viewing more immersive, end quote, a niche that a metaverse environment can fulfill, with gaming being a particular area of interest. Quote, it's still early days, but we're excited to see how we can turn these virtual worlds into a reality for viewers, end quote, read the blog post. Now, some of this you can kind of already do. Like I said, like there's virtual worlds where you can, get together with a group of friends. It can be like a pretend big screen. You can play a YouTube video, movie, whatever it may be. What will be interesting is the monetization of this, obviously how it ties to NFTs, etc. It could be kind of fun. The bottom line here is though, NFTs and Web3, from my perspective, as I see it, even with the problems I see in it, isn't going anywhere at this time. I think it's going to be a big deal. We're talking about most of the transactions on Ethereum coming from it. We're talking about big players hopping into it. And we're talking about sort of a revolution of how the internet is handled. What's going to be interesting is the centralized control from the platforms versus the decentralized options or alternatives, and how those mesh together at the end of the day. Because remember, with cryptocurrency, with Web3, what our focus should be as a, I guess it's hard to call it a movement, but as a group of people that are interested in cryptocurrency, blockchain, and what it provides the public, is to remain close to those principles of peer-to-peer without a third party, independence of the individual, security, privacy, these sorts of things that still shouldn't be left in the wayside. And you can't let large institutions change this by providing more convenience, essentially. Because what Google has done, and YouTube as a whole, has basically offered a service that we all utilize, and in return we give up a lot of our security and privacy. And that is going to be something that, while I think in certain realms makes sense, should still be protected in other portions of blockchain and cryptocurrency as a whole. So it's kind of a tricky topic. I think I don't want to delve into that specific philosophical endeavor later, maybe in a dedicated video, because I find it very interesting. For today, though, we are going to move on to the mining, specifically Bitcoin mining rig maker eBang registers crypto exchange in Australia. So I haven't actually heard of this crypto mining rig maker, but eBang registers crypto exchange in Australia. eBang started the registration process back in 2020. Chinese Bitcoin mining rig maker eBang, on NASDAQ EBON, registered a crypto exchange with the Australian Transaction Reports and Analysis Centre. Approval for the registration of eBang's wholly owned subsidiary, I'm going to get better at that, Ebonics Australia, as a digital currency exchange was completed on December 3rd, 2021, according to a Thursday press release. eBang's stock was up 14% in yesterday's trading on the NASDAQ, though it has lost 42% of its value in the past 6 months. Once again, your limited exposure to cryptocurrency and the prices when investing in a stock that is related to blockchain is kind of BS. You're still better off purchasing, in my humble opinion, something that is directly in the cryptocurrency space, whether that be a currency or an NFT or a token, etc., and then having control of those keys over purchasing a stock, because you aren't getting any limited exposure. You're still seeing essentially the same upticks and downticks related to the price of cryptocurrency as a whole. So this whole limited exposure thing, I think it's, a sales pitch, right? Snake oil. The approval will add substantial value to the company's growth and is bringing it closer to becoming a diversified and vertically integrated blockchain company, Dong Hu, chairman and CEO, said in the press release. Hangzhou, China-based eBang set up the subsidiary and started the registration process in October of 2020. The registration has been renewed every 3 years, according to the Austrac website. So at this point, what you are getting, and hopefully we'll find out exactly, when this launches, etc., is basically a new exchange for Australia, which in my opinion, from my understanding of what's going on in Australia, is needed and kind of a big deal. You need additional exchanges, even if they are centralized, so that you can basically convert out, especially as a miner, into some sort of local fiat currency to pay costs, etc., at least until the world fully wakes up and, like, for example, retailers as well as electric companies and all of that start accepting crypto directly. All right, so more on mining. This time, a little bit of bad news coming from CoinDesk, a little bit of FUD. Hungary's central bank head calls on EU to ban crypto mining and trading. The governor of the Hungarian National Bank said he agreed with the Russian central bank's earlier proposal to ban crypto activities. Now, this is something that's been going on a lot. We see, oh, we're going to ban it, we don't ban it. Oh, we're going to ban it, we don't ban it. And then part of that is that it starts feeling like the boy who cried wolf. And then we kind of do get caught off guard when, for example, China actually went through with the ban and the whole entire crypto mining space had to move to other geographical locations. So it's a little hard to take these seriously because they happen all the time, this sort of talk. However, it is important to cover them so that we are aware in case this does end up coming to fruition. The chief of Hungary's national bank said he supports banning crypto trading and mining in the European Union on the grounds that it could service illegal activities and tend to build up financial pyramids. Once again, what's the number one way that they try to do this? They try to do this by striking fear in you by saying that there are illegal activities being performed on the networks. This is the number one go-to, and then eventually maybe they'll come out and say the real reason, which is that it's a threat to their current financial position in the society. And that's really what we start seeing. For example, what we started seeing in the addressing of it in the US. So when you read these, always remember that that is the number one strategy to get the public to go along with something, whether or not the actual accusations are true and how valid they are. Regardless of the amount of illegal activity that is being done on blockchain, the amount of illegal activity being done off-chain through other means, whether that's laundering through purchasing expensive paintings or other means, is still primarily done in fiat currency and, of course, the US dollar. Not to mention the amount that's actually done by the US government itself when we're talking about these particular situations. So remember, we don't give up our financial freedom, our privacy, and our security for safety. Because that's how you end up in a totalitarianism dictatorship. That's how this progression happens. It always starts with fear. Following China's move making all crypto activities illegal in September and Russia's central bank recently proposing to do the same, I don't know this name, wrote in a statement that, quote, I perfectly agree with the proposal and also support the senior EU financial regulators' point that the EU should ban the mining method used to produce the most new Bitcoin. So here's the other thing. If you're going to claim, basically, if you're going to claim illegal activity on the blockchain, just as a point here, but the way that you want to combat it is by removing a completely legitimate thing that's being done on the blockchain. It seems a little silly. Like, I can't take you seriously. There are other things you could do. KYC, for example, right? You could also, if you wanted to get rid of cryptocurrency mining, you could raise your electric rates even higher, at least at the residential rate. This doesn't make any sense. It doesn't follow a logical pattern here because it's like, okay, because illegal activities are happening, we're going to remove the workers that are providing a service completely legitimately. We're going to remove them from the equation. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't really help anything. That there are going to be other people in other parts of the world that are going to continue to maintain the network. So now all you're doing is not participating in increasing the wealth of your public with this medium. And it's going to be a big deal. We just talked about how big NFTs are going to be. This is absolutely ridiculous reasoning. The Russian National Bank recently switched its position to supporting the regulation of crypto rather than outright banning it. And we already talked about that as well. I was going to bring it up if that wasn't a point here. But, quote, it is clear cut that cryptocurrencies could service illegal activities and tend to build up financial pyramids, Matic Matoliski wrote, is that correct? The EU should act together in order to preempt the building up of new financial pyramids and financial bubbles. All right, so part of that is that what they're trying to say is essentially you build up a bubble, it pops, it destroys the economy. There have been those arguments across, cryptocurrency in the past. Once again, that is your financial responsibility as an individual. That is not the government's job to determine or protect you as a citizen from some sort of pyramid scheme or financial bubble. Okay, that is your decision as an individual. In my humble opinion, the government shouldn't have any say in that. Matoliski proposed instead that EU citizens and companies would be allowed to own cryptocurrencies outside the EU, and regulators would track their holdings. Of course, they will be doing this, and this is still a problem, and it comes down to like the whole KYC thing. Look, we understand that the governments want to gather taxes to basically support the society. To a certain extent, that's completely understandable. Servicing of roads, that sort of thing, public services, and so on. So they want to track it so that they can pull taxes out. That's the primary goal. The question is, to what extent is that really necessary? Blockchain proposes an interesting solution actually to this for governments, because it is a lot more traceable than, say, the US dollar that you can take as paper money and hand it to Joe for a rifle for $600. Whereas now in the US, for example, if you basically have a digital transaction of $600, that's getting reported immediately to the IRS. Such little amounts of money that it's laughable that their argument is this is to actually get more taxes out of the upper class. No. This is to keep the lower classes, middle class and lower classes down and pinned down by taxing the ever-living crap out of every single transaction they make. There's no large, basically super rich dude that's going to be worried about having to basically report $600 to the IRS. It's to the point to where it's just babying the public. It's a little ridiculous. So a lot of these arguments to me are like, okay, whatever. That being said, let's talk about WCCF Tech's report on AMD launching Radeon ROCm 5.0 for RDNA 2 GPUs, and basically support access to instinct accelerators, which could mean, of course, improvements for mining from specifically the Linux side. Now, most of these features, unfortunately, that we've tested on the Windows side, the Instinct accelerators and so on, haven't proven to actually show any performance improvement for the most part. But this is a positive move for the open ecosystem. So it appears that AMD has released their ROCm 5.0, which is to enhance the Radeon open ecosystem further. ROCm is AMD's open software platform, entitling researchers to access crucial AMD Instinct accelerators to push more scientific findings. The Radeon ROCm platform is created based on available portability, supporting environments across numerous accelerator agents and architectures. AMD expands its platform, powering leading HPC and AI applications with AMD Instinct MI200 series accelerators. Like I said, right now, this really isn't going to impact mining, but if we're talking about, and I know that there's some arguments over proof of useful work, etc. We'll get into that once we actually know the development of proof of useful work. What you have to understand is some of the, like Mind Your Biz has brought this up. It's a good point. As we see the current research for like proof of useful work, for example, most of the articles are quite old. A lot of them don't fully answer the question of integrating proofs. Now, CoinAI's did, and that's going to be an important factor when we get into it. But I think as a whole, right, this is where I'm pointing towards, like in the future, this is going to be important. But AMD Instinct MI200 series and accelerators extended support and accessibility of ROCm for developers in delivering unprecedented performance across critical workloads, offering new support for Radeon Pro V620 and Radeon Pro W6800 workstation graphics cards. ROCm 5.0 initializes AMD's RDNA 2 based graphics cards as the first to be supported by the open source computing software stack for graphics processors. The new platform update for AMD adds support for certain Navi 2X and RDNA 2 GPU support areas. Navi 1 and 2X support has for quite some time been missing from ROCm. Some Navi bits were working in ROCm 4.5, while in ROCm 5.0, there is presently official Navi 2X assist as it concerns their workstation GPUs. AMD doesn't formally promote ROCm for their consumer level graphics cards. However, for the most part, since the workstation support is in publication, the Radeon RX 6000 series will probably work well in tandem with ROCm. Navi 1X help has been inadequate in ROCm. However, ideally, ROCm 5.0 will fix some issues over time. Additionally, it still needs to be shown whether they have reestablished the Polaris GPU support in ROCm 5.0. With ROCm 4.5, the Polaris support was failing. They demonstrated it was an accidental relapse with still latently supporting those more seasoned graphics processors. However, they have made no sign in their recent release information whether Polaris support is in reparation. So I guess they broke from 4.5 to 5.0 while they added, RDNA 2 and Navi 1 and 2X support for the most part. And RX 6000 series maybe will work, right, in tandem with it. Polaris is getting broken off of there. So anyways, interesting moves by AMD. Always good for, basically for Linux and open platforms in general. Let's go ahead and talk about mining profitability for the week or for the day. For the week, we do this every day. All right, so on FlexPool, we are looking really good. Our estimated earnings daily is back over 0.08. And that is working really well, of course, with the price of Ethereum at $270 a day. I'm very happy with the farm performance going up. We have not rolled TON back into the dual mining. I'll be rolling that back in this weekend while I have some time. I did get all of the workers upgraded to LOL Miner 1.44. And so far, the reports on it functioning well are good. However, the profitability due to the increased difficulty on TON has definitely taken a hit. Boom. But what is it looking like on what to mine for the RTX 3090 is the next question. Let's calculate this out. Ethereum is back over $5.33 a day on the 3090. Yes. $5 a day, baby. $6 a day in revenue. Whoo, it's looking good. Hopefully this maintains for some time. Let's go ahead and update the Zell hash though, because we always need to remember to do that. And that would be using, of course, 110 solutions a second on MiniZ, which is actually an older miner. But Ryo still comes in second at $3 a day after power. Flux $2.85 a day after power. Ethereum Classic still making a good showing, holding strong at $2.67 a day. Now we go down here and kind of keep going down the list. And of course, Ravencoin's pretty far behind. Ergo's, ahead of Ravencoin technically on profitability thanks to its low power consumption. And Ergo's kind of in one of those spots right now where I think a lot's up in the air with the IP27. The profitability, if that goes through, is going to drop on Ergo. And I don't know that that's really a good thing either from an incentive point of view as it currently sits. So it'll be better for, of course, Ergo in the long run. It might make it take too much of a hit here initially, which is going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Could be wrong. If miners compensate, we could end up seeing a pump with the reduction, at least a pump in price with the reduction of the block reward. Let's take a look at the 2080 Ti right here and calculate that out. And what do we got? Ethereum basically beating out Flux right now, $2.51 a day. Flux is way down here. We still got Rio really pumping on Trade Ogre, which is really interesting. $1.94 a day after power. I still haven't gotten an update on what's going on with this coin. It's very interesting because it seems like a dead coin from a development standpoint, but a very alive coin from a mined and selling standpoint. And part of that could obviously be its features specifically surrounding privacy. Flux is at $1.89 a day after power. We have Cortex down here at $1.74. Z Classic still kind of sticking up there, which is interesting. We got Conflex $1.36 a day, Ravencoin $1.34 a day. I'm not seeing Ergo. Where did we miss Ergo? Eternity's still kind of sitting up there. Lots of profitable coins, which is good news, of course. And then let's check the old Polaris GPUs, the ones we're worried about post ETH merge. Right now on Ethereum, $1.31 a day. Pretty good for such an old card. If you've been cranking those out on Ethereum since 2016, you're probably feeling pretty darn good right now. Ethereum Classic, its only real savior, in my humble opinion, for liquidity options, 61 cents a day after power. That's going to be a little rough. Ergo, 40 cents a day after power. Ravencoin, 36 cents a day after power. And actually, Beam even beats out Ravencoin right now at 38 cents a day after power. Let's go ahead and look and see if there are any massive changes on the networks today. We are up to 208 exahash a second on Bitcoin for the hash rate. The difficulty is still sitting right around that 26.69 T. Let's go ahead and look at Ethereum, the next largest proof of work coin. And for Ethereum, what we're looking at is still over 1 petahash a second right now on the network. That hasn't really moved. That's unchanged, as well as the difficulty seems to be unchanged as well. So if you're looking at, purchasing more equipment, both Bitcoin and Ethereum seem to be a little staled off, thanks to, of course, the dip in price. So if you kept buying equipment through that, you're probably feeling pretty good about things right now. Let's take a look at Flux. Flux is at 2 mega solutions a second, which is down about 0.21. What was that? I think it was at 2.21 mega solutions a second yesterday. So it's actually down 0.2 mega solutions today. That doesn't seem to correspond to a difficulty drop. Unfortunately, whatever's going on with the difficulty seems to go up and down quite a bit. Excuse me for the cough. One sec. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Ravencoin, which has, pretty big market cap. 4.27 terahash a day. It's not down from yesterday, but it's still really not back up to that. I think it was like 6 terahash when it was before the halving. Still kind of, I think this is right where about like that 4.2 to 4.5 is where it's settling in. We did have a small drop in difficulty to 66.33K, and it looks like all the nodes are up and running as well on all of these, by the way. Let's take a look at Ergo. And for Ergo, it looks like 14.47 terahash. There was a huge drop off here. We were kind of talking about this earlier, where essentially people are dropping off mining it. And it looks like the drop off is coming from 2 miners and Nanopool primarily. That was February 8th to February 9th. This was more recent. And we are down to 14.47 terahash a second from yesterday at 15 terahash a second. At its peak yesterday, it was at 15.88. And no real realization on the difficulty chart at this time. So there you go. That's where we are at. Let's look at mining pool profits on Ethereum. And basically, last 90 days, we have Crazy Pool in first, Flex Pool in second, and Mining Pool Hub in third. For the last 60 days, Flex Pool in first, Crazy Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. Last 30 days, Crazy Pool in first, Flex Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. For the last 21 days, Crazy Pool in first, Flex Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. Last 14 days, Flex Pool in first, Mining Pool Hub in second, Ether Mine in third. Crazy Pool getting knocked out of the top 3 in the last 14 days. For the last 7 days, ZET in first, Flex Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. For the last 3 days, ZET in first, Crazy Pool coming back into the top 3 in second, Ether Mine in third, and Flex Pool getting knocked out of the top 3 pretty hardcore. And for the last day, Crazy Pool in first, 2 miners in second, Nano Pool in third. 2 miners actually found some really massive blocks earlier this morning. So if you were on 2 miners, congratulations. That looked like you're having a pretty good payday. The good news here, because we had an uptick in profitability, like we were showing you here, this was no big blocks on Flex Pool. So if you actually go look at the blocks that were found on Flex Pool around this same time, Flex Pool didn't hit any of those massive blocks like 2 miners or anything. So what that means is this is indicative of a more stable income as of right now. Obviously, I want Flex Pool to hit the big blocks and get some really good numbers even day to day. But the good news from them not hitting the big blocks right now is that it's indicative of a more stable income that we can be expecting over probably the course of February. All right, Asic Miners, as always, KD6 in first. Let's refresh this. I don't think this got refreshed since yesterday. Yeah. So Cadena's down on the mining, $170 a day compared to the $200 a day that was yesterday. The KD5 is in second, and the D7, I mean, the Inosilicon A11's technically in third, but as we've talked about, is it wise to be currently purchasing that? Probably not. Antminer D7, $43 a day. Antminer L7 down to like $39 a day. This isn't the thing about this is not set into dual mining. So it's probably a little bit more than this. Probably like, if I had to take a guess, maybe around like $50 to $60, somewhere in that range. If you add in the dual mining and the Litecoin from that. IB Link's still up in there, looking good on Cadena. And then for the Bitcoin miners, the S19 Pro, we kind of look at this every day, $15 on Bitcoin. You got $18.8 if you're going through mining rig rentals. Not a great showing for Bitcoin right now. That difficulty on the market's pretty hefty, specifically for Bitcoin, but you do have the case of the most longevity for your ASIC miner on Bitcoin, in my humble opinion, if I'm looking at it, not financial advice. And speaking of, I guess we'll take a look at BT Miners, a sponsor for the channel. We've already talked to you guys about getting a coin miner in here for testing, hopefully within the next couple weeks. We'll let you know how it goes. Its pricing per terahash is a lot better. Of course, it does have the power consumption a little bit higher than a Bitmain Antminer. So there's kind of that trade-off there. But as far as the rest of these prices go, we're not seeing huge dips. We're still at $11,000 for the S19 Pro. Not that great, in my opinion. Hopefully that can come down. Now, if you're looking at a retailer like this, it really depends on where what time they purchased it and where they purchased it from. They might just be stuck at 11,000 at the bottom, right? And that's kind of the hard part for these retailers, especially when the market gets a little dip in it like it has right now. If it skyrockets, that price might be good. Right now, probably not great. You're just going to have to use your own judgment as far as that goes. A11's 23 grand right now. Pretty risky buy. The A10, a pretty risky buy. The Jasmine miners, pretty risky buys. I know that Vosscoin has the Jazz miner, a review for it. So you guys can go check out his channel as far as that goes. Antminer L3 Plus, unfortunately, still too expensive at $15.99. I'd really be in at like quite a bit lower than that, probably somewhere between $500 to $800 L7's $26,000. Definitely scary when it only makes 40 bucks a day at this time. A lot of these, you know, it's going to be a little hard. The KD box is a little more interesting, but it's $6,500 for something that should be around, you know, if you purchased it before the big bump in Cadena, would be around 600 bucks, something along those lines, $700. So it's hard pressed to want to buy that when you have that old, like, not even bomb cost, but like original MSRP price in your head. And it's like, okay, wow, this is getting crazy. The Gold Shell KD6 Cadena miner at 53,000, down from like that 60,000 it was at for a while. I'm pretty sure they're probably pretty close to what they, you know, purchased them for at this point on that. The D7, 14,400. I think the D7 was performing pretty well. Yeah, 40 bucks a day. So, you know, better than the D7, still better than like the Antminer L7, you know, because you're doing about the same in profit a day. However, you know, you're spending $12,000 less for a D7. So there's that. It's kind of what's going on BT miners. The ones I'm interested in are the coin miners, which they have a partnership to get those cheaper for. So once you get a review, of course, we'll be linking you guys over to here with the affiliate links so we get a kickback on the channel. Let's get into questions and answers for the day. Remember, boys and girls, super chats never required, always welcome, and of course it's the easiest to read, so they get answered first. Plus they put in more skin into the game, so that's why. If you want me to respond, please tag @SonOfATech, because in the chat window, it will turn your message orange and it makes it easier for me to read. So basically, questions go in the order of easiest to read. That's all. Let's go ahead and go down. Oh. We got Crazy Pool in the chat. Thanks for showing up, guys. Obviously, your profitability is looking fantastic today. All right, we had a $10 super chat from Gabriel Saltar. No message, but a thank you. So thank you. We had $10 Canadian, that hard to find Canadian dollar right now. Thank you, good sir, from Arcos Mining. Honk honk. All right. Let's see what else we got in here. Ted saying good morning. Good morning to you as well, sir. All right, I'm scrolling down for some questions. We got one from Bossman. @SonOfATech, I got some AMD 570s for custom coin mining, one rig. In your opinion, are the NVIDIA 1660 Ti's better or AMD 570s better for small cap coins? Well, the 1660 Ti is a newer GPU, so it has more support. And then on top of that, it does have the best probability of still being profitable post-merge on Ethereum. So I would go with the 1660 Ti's. We do have a brand new super chat coming from Babelfish, $5. Tech hit 4.5 gigahash last week. It all started with your video on how to mine Ethereum 2021. Thanks. Awesome, bro. 4.5 gigahash a second is literally close to what I'm at right now. So congratulations, good sir. And I hope you are basically killing it. I hope we all make it. We all gonna make it. Pay Me in Crypto says, @SonOfATech, recently learned NVIDIA mining GPUs have no fans. Have you ever tried mining without GPU fans casing on, relying on just big fan airflow? So what you'll typically have is a heatsink. Yes, I have, but not on high power GPUs. So I had some 1030s. There's this old kind of meme video when you couldn't get graphics cards. And then I just purchased 8 GT 1030s, put them in a rig, and started mining with them. You did need case airflow, even on the 1030s. So depending on, I think you're talking about the P104s. Your best bet and the easiest ones to install them in is going to be server cases. The Rosewills for you cases work fantastic for those because you can put those high-powered server PSU fans in the front. We've covered that on the channel. You could also go with, of course, the Octo Miner, their 8 GPU or 12 GPU variant. They do come with the fans. It's a little, probably a little more expensive than you would really want to put P104s in there for. And the reasoning behind that, obviously, is that if you have an Octo Miner, frankly, like, you're going to want to put some high-end GPUs in there. You got basically coming out of the box on the 12 GPU variant, you got 3,600 watts. Seems like you're wasting a lot of potential there on a P104. So I would lean towards the Rosewill server cases with basically just some, not Alibaba, AliExpress server fans. There you go. So that's kind of what I think about that. And it's going to be plenty for those. You're going to be fine. Andreas 11G says, at Son of a Tech, have you talked about Team Red Miner version 0.9.2 adds plus 20 to 25% hash rate for TON on all AMD GPUs? I have not. I did not know. I check that one every day. Let me see what I missed. You know, I do miss things, and that's why we do this chat. A lot of the times you guys teach me new things too. So let's go ahead and look. I got Team Red Miner here. Oh, this was 16 hours ago. Hold on. Reconnecting. Okay. All right. On February 11th, 2022, TON single algo for all GPUs and ETH plus TON dual mining for Navi and Big Navi. All right. This release adds plus 20 to 25% hash rate for TON on all AMD GPUs, including when dual mining. Vega and Polaris support for dual mining released shortly, so it's not released yet. Vega and Polaris, but we do have Navi. So Navi and Big Navi, so that's going to be, that's 5,000 series and 6,000 series GPUs, correct? If I'm not mistaken. And then we got Vega and Polaris coming later. TON pool support is limited to ice mining and TON coin pool. Please read the tonmining.txt and dualethmining.txt guides for more information. Mining distro contacts should read the TRM dual mining API text for pointers on how to present data for dual mining. Interesting. So GPU added TON algo for single algo mining on all GPU generations. Added dual ETH and TON mining for Navi and Big Navi, so 5,000, 6,000 series. We will have Vega and Polaris upcoming. I'll definitely get on testing this today. Hopefully this weekend. I do have a few things to get to today outside of this, but added dual mining tuner based on scoring weights. Faster initial ET hash tuning on startup. They did add FPGA max JTAG megahertz for limiting the JTAG communication frequency, and fixed DNA VU35P now matches Vivado, Hardware Manager, and Next JTAG. So there you go. Awesome find. Thanks for letting me know in the comment section below. This is going to probably be a game changer for the Navi and Big Navi GPUs. Can't wait to give it a shot. We will get on that, you know, hopefully today. So there you go. Let's get back to questions and answers. Wazwinkle says at Wheezy back. Okay, sorry, that's not for me. It had a question mark at the end. All right. Doc Duggan says at Son of a Tech, I really like Flux, but it's hard to stay on it when it's not so profitable. Is Flux down or is ETH just up? ETH is up right now. That's what you're looking at. Plus big blocks are being found on ETH as well right now. And I don't see that stopping soon. I think we're going to steamroll this straight through the merge. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. So at T-Gig says, at Son of a Tech, are you going to the BTC, the Bitcoin conference? Wasn't planning on it. So I've done conferences before. Part of the problem is the amount of content that you can really get out of them is pretty low without a team. It's very difficult to do content as a single creator at one of those conferences. And I'm probably more better off financially just doing it, like literally just continuing the show and the content flow from the house. That being said, I would like to go to that to like meet more with the community and that sort of stuff. So it really just depends. I actually don't even know which one you're talking about in particular, but yeah. Raymond says, as Son of a Tech, is the RTX 2060 Super goodbye at 622 US dollars? You know, I couldn't tell you. I don't think it would be. You can always go to what to mine and then like plug it in and see what your where they don't even have the 2060 Super on here right now. I thought they did. Aren't they like 45 mega hash a second on ETH or something like that? So that'd be like 239 a day in revenue minus whatever the power is. Oh, you know, it's up to you. They will be good on Flux, so you do have that. Jeff Rodriguez says 173,000 subs. You're catching up to Red Panda numbers. Congrats. Well, thank you for the congrats. We used to be neck and neck, but obviously we had some personal stuff go on this year that kind of threw us behind, but we are building back up. We're also trying out, you know, this new format, so we'll see how it goes. Thanks everybody for the support though. Georgie, there we go, my bad. Said, at Son of a Tech, did you ever test the 6800 and 6800 XT with ETH, Flux, and Raven? We tested the I only have a 6800. And at this time, we've only tested it with ETH and Ton, and Raven. I don't think we've tested Flux yet. No, we did. I don't remember when the video was. Arazi says, at Son of a Tech, can you talk a bit about taxes when it comes to mining? How do you calculate the amount you mined? Use bitcoin.tax, import the wallet that you are mining from, and then import that into TurboTax, and it'll give you the information, or provide it to a CPA, which is what I would actually recommend, and probably avoid TurboTax at this point. Ninja Baseball Batman says, at Son of a Tech, have you repadded a 3080 Founders Edition? What pads and thickness, if so? Not a 3080. 3090 Founders Editions I have, but I think they would still be around the same. Except you have the back pads too, but I'm trying to think. I don't even remember what pad size. Off the top of my head, it's kind of hard because at this point, like I'm replacing I replace so many pads that it's just, I have a bin with all the different sizes. A card goes down, I pull it out, I cut them out, and I measure it with just like on my video of how to replace pads on any GPU. You measure it out with some calipers. You try to get as close, you test it, test the fit, see if it fixed the heat problem. If it didn't, you take it apart and try different size pads. That's pretty much where you're at. Pay me in crypto. Thanks for the 99-cent super chat. All right. Trying to get through these. Where were we at? Right down here. So, Maskless Ninja says, at Son of a Tech, I'm collecting 2080 Supers and 2080 Ti's for Flux. Currently at 800 solutions a second. At what point do you suggest you start focusing on collecting cards for different coins? Flux is probably your best hedge from a GPU mining perspective. Killyfish says, at Son of a Tech, I have a 3080 Ti for the win miners for days on end, but when I play Rust, it hard crashes and you have to turn the power off, back and on, to get it to start again. So it'll mine, but when you actually play the game, you have issues. It could be a driver thing, possibly. especially with Rust. Additionally, are you turning off the overclocks? Because if you have that memory pumping out for ETH and you're just leaving that memory overclock, it usually doesn't play too well with gaming. You want to turn that memory overclock back off. The Stick Shark says, Ask Son of a Tech, did you go over your farm profits? You missed it. No, I haven't. I did tweet out last year we mined 40 ETH total. So that's where we're at. Daniel Ring says, where the heck is the BT Miners link? You are blind. It was on yesterday's video. I might not have it in there. I'll go grab it for you though, because they were the sponsor for yesterday's video. Let me make sure this is all muted. We'll throw that in. We do have free shipping currently available there, so there's that. Phone backup says, at Son of a Tech, how to reduce rejected shares while mining TON on Hive OS using Whales Pool. Typically, that's going to be turning down your core overclock. That being said, there could be a problem with Whales Pool. What I'm seeing, obviously, is Team Red Miner doesn't even support Whales TON pool right now, which tells me something is probably still going on with that particular pool. Pay Me in Crypto says, that's Son of a Tech, do you know about TON staking? Can't seem to find much info like yields, etc. Last I checked, it was something incredible, like 200 TON a day. But your investment's pretty high. So, validators, become a validator. All right, so yeah, here's that. As you can see, what we have here is 200 TON coins per day, average income daily generated by a validator node as of September 2021. I think your initial investment was going to be and that's for the denominator, right? No, that's for a validator node. And so that's 10,000 TON. I mean, that's like 30 grand, right? Close to 30 grand to make 200 a day. You know, so I've talked about this before, actually. Mining versus staking and that sort of thing. Investing in mining hardware, for the most part, even ASICs, right? You have another coin that you can potentially mine. Staking has potentially higher rewards, but you are committed to a single network. And that's kind of where those two come into competition. So $30,000 on mining equipment versus $30,000 on a single coin. If that coin tanks, which in TON's case, you know, that's still way up in the air right now, then you are tanked. You're fully liquidated, right? You don't have any hardware. You can't move the hardware. It's a risk, especially at $30,000. But that's pretty tempting in price, right? All right, we have a few more super chats. K993802, $8.99 a euro. Thank you, good sir. Hello from England. Over here, power costs are currently 35 cents a kilowatt hour and confirmed to increase a further 50% plus from March. Can you recommend any US-based GPU hosting services for an 8x GPU server case? You know, it's going to be hard pressed to really find a hosting solution for 8 GPUs. I would think. I don't have any recommendations necessarily. I know there's services like Compass Mining. I know there's a couple new ones coming along specifically for GPUs. I don't know. I know that the power costs are really expensive over there. Unfortunately, it's going to force a lot of people out of the market. It's one of the biggest gripes I have overall right now, is that the larger and larger this becomes, the harder it becomes for people to break into the market. We go back to that early mover advantage now at this point, right? Because if you had enough equipment to actually relocate like a sizable farm, then it's probably a lot easier to do so, right? I don't really have any suggestions though necessarily, other than you could possibly do something like sell those off and then invest. If you want to stay into mining, invest into something like Compass Mining. I haven't done enough research on them necessarily. I know that Bitsby Trippin has, so go check his channel out for that. J Bain DC2 says, Asan Tech, good morning, brother. Happy Friday. Got a new EVGA 1660 coming in tomorrow. You scored for 225. Do you know if LOL Miner supports ETC TON? I'd be interested in it for your 4 GB Polaris cards. LOL Miner version 1.44 does support that on the 1660 TIs and Supers. I don't know about a straight 1660. And I'm actually not clear on the Polaris cards because I haven't checked it at this point. I heard reports that it was working, but personally, I don't have that working necessarily. We do have another super chat from Trat Miner. Says, lately I haven't seen many reviews on the 1080 Ti with newer algos. Plenty of 1070s and 1080s. That due to the pill, and ETH makes it a no-brainer. Yeah, I don't actually have a 1080 Ti right now to test for you. Otherwise, I would do it, but it's not something that I have at this time. What I do know is that a lot of the 10 series are being bought for Flux, and there's really no advantage in anything above the 1070 for Flux itself. Basically, 1070 is kind of like the sweet spot. Martin says, Asan Tech, do you solo mine anything? Not currently, but I have. We hit like 3 or 4 blocks on Flux solo. That was covered on the channel. Quincy Jackson says, Asan Tech, do you have any overclock suggestions for ETH and TON on the 3080? Go ahead and check out specifically the LOL Miner suggestions within their GitHub. They got them all covered there for you. I believe it's like 1500 megahertz on the core. And then for the ETH, 2000 to 2600 megahertz on the RAM, depending on, how well you have that cooled, which is the big deal. AJ Ethan says, Asan Tech, India recently introduced a 30% tax on profit. Yep, we did cover that on the channel. Does it mean I have to pay on mining earnings as well? I do not know. You need to check with a local tax expert of some sort, right? The Stick Shark says, Asan Tech, what PSU setups do you tend to like for use for your rigs? ATX Plus server. I use server power supplies with breakout boards from Parallel Miner, primarily. I do have some of those mining rig special ones, and then outside of that, traditionally, like the 1600 watt EVGA Platinums are great too. Georgie asks, Asan Tech, I relocate, says, Asan Tech, I relocate in Florida with around 5 cents per kilowatt. That's pretty good. That's less than what I'm paying right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thanks for watching today. We will be off for the weekend, but content will continue to flow. Hopefully we'll have some dedicated videos as well this weekend. I did get my cable in for the HNT antenna over here. Take a look. If I could get it open. That did not work at all. It was like, tear this. Okay. Well. Anyways. Thanks to M Hammer, we basically have a custom cable with the connector for the antenna on this side and the connector for the hotspot miner on this side. The antenna is going to come in. We're going to hook this up and see if we get better profits. My question, I guess, would be, should I show you guys the review of if you just bought the unit and what it's making first and then do the modifications and see where it's at? My understanding is the profits are quite drastically different once you have upgraded the antenna. So maybe we do 2 videos or I just do 1 comprehensive video. I haven't decided. But hopefully that antenna comes in soon and we'll go from there. Then obviously we're going to test Team Red Miner this weekend, get you guys an update on that on the 5700 XT as well as the 6000 series. And then we also, I think, so we have that. Oh, and the RTX 3050 testing for G Miner because of its specific unlocks. Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to hit like, comment, subscribe. Go ahead and tell all your friends about the channel. And together, we're all going to make it. Keep calm, mine on. I'll see you next Tuesday.